If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I'm happy to sew along with you the Violet Barrel Bag by So Many Creations. Thank you so much, Jessica, for allowing me to make this tutorial. Now, I just love this. Now, I'm a binding type of girl, and I know a lot of people aren't. This one is not bound. You're going to be so happy. This one, Jess wrote this one in a way that is a barrel bag that is birthed. Blow your mind, right? Most barrel bags are bound or drop in lining, but this one is birthed. And you know what? It was not a hard one to do at all. Let me show you some of the amazing features of this bag, and then we'll get into the guts of it. So this one I have chosen to do in Cork. As you know, Jess does most of her stuff in Cork. She does sell her own cork on So Many Creations website. All that is linked down below. This I have done in Cork. Now this is cork that I get because I am Canadian. I get this from a Canadian supplier. So this is from Cork Supply. You can also buy Cork Supply cork from Emmaline bags. Just a handy little note there. Yeah, so I've done this one in cork and a faux leather. My faux leather is the Canuck line from Galaxy Customs. This one, you have an optional crossbody strap, and on the crossbody straps, or on these sides here, you have some pockets. Keep in mind that this here is raw edge along here, as are my connectors. Now in the pattern, you can do connectors however you like. You can use metal connectors if you wanted. I actually opted for a different shaped connector because I really like the shape of connector and I didn't want it to cover up my print too much. But she also has a template for a connector in the pattern as well. That's what the bottom looks like. I chose to do this one with handbag length straps. I think I did these ones to 25 inches or something like that. Double zip closure. And on the inside, I used a waterproof canvas. This is Robin's Egg from Zipper Valley. And I did my usual linings. I did my linings pockets a little bit different because I keep my linings pockets the same in all my bags. That's what my clients like. So this one I've done my standard zipper overlay, and I did one large slip pocket here for a cell phone. And I just love, for not being a bound bag, look how tight that lining fits in there. This is a super fast sew, and you know what? It really isn't that hard. I think the hardest part was probably just sewing on these sides, but take it slow. It'll be fine. Things I did different. So this one, you leave an opening in the lining, you turn through the lining, and then you fold over the raw edges and close up that opening. I did my usual where I did it through the bottom, just like she does, but I also left an opening in my zipper pocket. Then I pulled my lining up through the zipper pocket and closed it off that way, and then closed off my pocket, like I do for all my birth bags. And I'll show you how to do that in this video. What else did I do differently? I don't think I did too much differently besides my lining pockets, because I always do, and just that little bit of a birthing thing, but it was pretty much the same. Not hard to birth at all. Oh, I know what I did differently. Now this bag here, she does not call for any interfacing, depending on what your materials are. So for cork and vinyl, you probably wouldn't need it. Now I worry about that just because I'm on an industrial machine and I do not want my machine to eat my fabrics. And I actually like interface bags. So I ended up doing a Decovil Light outside of the seam allowances for all my pieces here, except for on this edge here. I did my Decovil Light all the way to the edge because that gives me like a super, I don't know if you can see this, a super nice edge, thick edge to do my edge painting. So I did edge painting on all of my connectors and all my raw edges, and you know me, I love me some good edge painting. So yeah, so she says you can interface, you cannot interface, you just do whatever you like. This one I opted to use a Decovil Light for interfacing for all my mean pieces. I also put a little bit of Decovil Light just in the center of my connectors, just because in my head that's just what I like to do. So it makes me think that it's just going to give it a little bit more stability. Whether it does or not, I don't know, but in my head it does. Besides that, I followed this pattern to a T. This is a quick sew. Again, this one I posted on my Facebook's business page and it sold right away. This one will be off to her new home in Saskatchewan. Fellow Canadian bought it. Anyways, my zippers and hardware is all from Emmaline bags. Again, I said my cork is from Cork Supply. You can also get it at Emmaline bags. My black vinyl is I think it's called Loon Black of the Canuck line of Galaxy Customs. My Decovil Light, I actually get that wholesale myself, but you can also buy that at Emmaline bags. What else? Oh yeah, and my lining I got from Zipper Valley, I think it was from Zipper Valley. I believe it's called Robin's Egg. I'm looking for the bag that it came in, but I can't find it. Anyways, I get my waterproof canvas from Zipper Valley, Emmaline bags, and from Fabricville. So this one, pretty sure it was from Zipper Valley. My zipper pulls, I actually are mine. I don't sell them, but I did order them in bulk from my label supplier. So it just ended up being cheaper than when I ordered my labels, that I got some zippers. You can see they're all along my cork board there. That's where I store them all. So yeah, but the zippers are from Emmaline bags. Anyways, I think that's enough chatter, hey? I can't wait to sew this along with you. I'll see you guys on the other side.
You're going to need some number 5 zipper tape, some rivets. I already did my crossbody straps. If you're doing that, you'll need your crossbody strap pieces and your hardware, 3 number 5 zipper pulls, 4 rectangle rings, 2 D-rings, optional 4 strap ends, and your nameplate. You're going to need your 2 main body and 2 lining pieces. Now I have my 2 lining and my 2 exterior pieces. I actually pieced my exterior pieces because I didn't have enough cork. You're going to need your side pocket, exterior, and lining pieces. You're going to need your 2 crossbody tabs, your 2 bottom overlay pieces, your 2 top accent side pocket pieces, your 2 handle pieces, and then your lining pocket pieces, however you're doing those, as well as 2 exterior and 2 lining zipper tabs. Now, if you're going to be doing vinyl connectors, you'll need those vinyl connectors as well. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my crossbody strap, which I already did, and my handles. Now I'm doing my handles slightly different as I'm doing them as a double fold like this, where she does it as a single fold. She's a raw edge on hers anyways. So yeah, if you need a class on how I do handles, that's down below in the description. Okay, so what you want to do is I've already gone and transferred my line from this pattern piece to the back of both. And I'm going to take some double-sided tape and put it at the top of that line. Next, you're going to take your main exterior pieces, also wrong side up, and you're going to stick them down right along that line. Make sure it's nice and centered and lines up great. You'll do this for both sides. Then we're going to go ahead, we're going to top stitch here, and then do a second row of top stitching underneath that for both. And that's what that looks like done. I've already gone and done my markings as per the pattern for our placement of our connectors. So we'll have to look at the pattern to find out the numbers for that. I'm going to take one of my connector pieces here and put a little bit of double-sided tape along the wrong side at the top. going to grab one of my rectangle rings, and I am going to fold it wrong sides together over top of that rectangle ring, sticking it down with that tape like so. Go ahead and do that with the other 3 in the exact same manner. Actually, first, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of double-sided tape on the back again, like so, and that's to help stick it to it later on. Again, now go ahead and repeat with the other 3. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that they are all relatively the same size, and I'm just going to take my chalk and I'm going to mark down about 1/4 of an inch or so from my rectangle ring, and that's just going to give me a guideline for when I am sewing these onto the bag, so I get a nice and straight line. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is decide which ones you want on the front of the bag. Sometimes some are nicer than others. And I'm going to line this up with the markings as per the measurements in the pattern and stick it down with that double-sided tape. You want to make sure they're nice and centered, and these line placements that she gives you are perfect. Perfect, perfect. Then we're going to go ahead and we are going to sew around these, top stitch around these with 1/8 of an inch across that line we drew all the way around. Do the same for the opposite side. Now what I've done now is I'm changing into one of my zipper feet here, so that is to help get nice and close to that hardware. I think this is my left zipper foot. I always mix up what they're called. I'm also going to be pulling my threads long to tie off the back so I get a nice continuous line without that back stitching. Now, you don't have to pull your threads to the back if you don't want to. Just make sure, if you aren't, that you do a back stitch well at start and stop. All right, so that's done. I've also gone ahead and I put, well, actually I'm going to take my wet one and I just want to mark or wipe those markings away right now before I forget. My client would not like it if I had chalk markings all over this. I also went ahead and I installed my nameplate nice and centered on the front panel. Now we're going to work on the D-ring connectors. So again, I've added Decovil Light just down the center just because I like the little bit of extra security it gives it. I'm putting double-sided tape down the center and I'm going to fold my sides into that center line like so. And I'm going to go ahead and top stitch down each of these sides with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Once that's done, from the top I've marked down as per what it says in the pattern, so the connectors will be the right length that they need to be. I'm putting a little double-sided tape at the top, taking my D-ring down to that line that we drew to that pattern measurement and folding it over wrong sides together like so. So make sure it's the right measurement as per the pattern. So again, my side panels, I have pieced because I did not have enough cork, so I just put a little bit of my lining along the bottom and made it the same pattern piece. Now I've already gone ahead, as per the pattern, measured up on my connectors where I'm going to be sewing my X, as you can see there. And I'm using my pattern piece here for the placement of where these D-ring connectors are going to go. So I'm just marking that on my cork there. I'm going to find my top and bottom centers of my sides while I have it here before I forget, because I'm terrible when it comes to doing that. Okay, and then with that double-sided tape on the back, I'm going to go ahead and line the folded edge of my D-ring connector at that line nice and straight. Then I'm going to take this to the machine. I'm going to sew that box and then that X, and then I'm going to go ahead and put 2 rivets in the top about here and here, back to scraps of Decovil Heavy just to secure those in place. This is what that looks like all done. Now we're going to work on our side pocket pieces. You're going to take your exterior pieces, make sure you have the right sides up that you want to. Take your top accents of those, put these right sides together along the top, clip in place. And then you're going to sew this with the seam allowance in the pattern, open up that seam, and then top stitch down each side of that seam. Once those are done, we can go ahead and attach the lining. Take your linings right sides together with this, lining it up at the top, clip in place. And then you're going to sew this with the seam allowance in the pattern, flip these wrong sides together, and top stitch everything in place. And this is what that looks like here. Now I'm going to just kind of, you can use the template to do this. I'm just going to take my side panel and put it on top, making sure that the bottom lines up with the cork if your lining's too long. And I'm just going to trace my shape here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to cut along those lines so that pocket is the same shape as my side panel. I'm going to trim off any excess lining I have hanging off at the bottom. Now, Jess does have some amazing acrylic templates for this pattern as well on her website if you want to check it out. Again, I'll link down below. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to line this up. Both the side panel and the pocket are right sides up, and we're going to clip that in place, making sure it is nice and straight, and baste that in place. So that's what that looks like. I've done the same for the opposite side. They look fantastic. Go ahead and set those aside for now. Okay, so I've already gone ahead and done my interior pockets. Again, I do them slightly different than she does in the pattern. I've left my zipper pocket open for closing it up later. If you need classes on how to do that, it's down below in the description. Now we're going to work on our zipper tabs. So I've got my zipper cut already to the length as per the pattern. I'm taking my zipper outer piece, or my zipper right side up, my exterior zipper tab right sides together with that, and then I am taking my lining piece and putting it on the opposite side, the wrong side of the zipper, so the two zipper tabs are now right sides together, sandwiching that zipper tape, if that makes sense. So these are for our zipper tabs. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew across those with the seam allowance in the pattern, bring those tabs wrong sides together, and top stitch through the tabs. Once that is done, go ahead and trim the tabs up so they're same width as the zipper tape. And now the magic happens. Now this is very similar to how you do a pouch, kind of. You'll see what I mean. I'm going to mark the center of my zipper just to make sure I have everything nice and centered. Okay, so now I'm going to take my lining piece, one of my lining pieces. I'm going to put some double-sided tape along the top. I'm going to do the same with the exterior piece. So I'm making sure my back panel and my zipper pocket are on the same side because I like my zipper pocket to be at the back of the bag. So I'm going to take my lining piece right side up. I'm going to take my zipper tape, also right side up. I'm going to make it nice and centered, matching up that center mark, and stick it to my tape all the way across. You can also use clips if you prefer. Next, what I'm going to do is take my exterior piece. I'm going to put this right sides together and add it into where we just stuck everything down, sandwiching that zipper tape. Then you're going to go ahead and you are going to sew across here with the seam allowance in the pattern, bring these wrong sides together and top stitch through the main top panel. Now, once again, I am now changing into my right zipper foot to get nice and close to the zipper and to make sure I have a nice and straight zipper. Now this is what I like to do before I top stitch to make sure I get a nice and really nice and tight seam is I use double-sided tape to press my seams open. Again, only do this if your machine does not mind double-sided tape, because now this is going through like 4 layers of double-sided tape, but I'm on an industrial, it can handle it. Otherwise, just finger press this really good. So again, I'm using double-sided tape to bring my 2 panels wrong sides together. And it just holds it super nice and tight away from those zipper teeth. You're going to go ahead and top stitch through there, and then you're going to repeat everything with the opposite side of the zipper tape with the other 2 panels. So this is what that looks like once everything is sewn. Now what we want to do is open up this zipper. You're going to bring the exteriors right sides together, match up those centers, and clip all the way across. Is this looking familiar? Kind of like a pouch, except for there's no sides on it. Do the same with the lining, except for we're going to leave a pretty big turning hole. So I'm going to just make marks on my fabric so I know not to sew in this middle. We're going to leave that open. And we're just going to clip this in place, and then we're just going to sew from each side to those lines we made, leaving that big opening for turning later on. So from here to here and there to there. So those are all sewn, and this is what it looks like, kind of like a figure 8. Now what we want to do, I'm going to start with my exterior because the exterior is easiest to work with at first. We're going to take the top and bottom of our side panels. You're going to open up that bottom seam, and you're going to line up your bottom seam there with that center. Then you're going to go ahead and match up the center of the side panel to the center here. Now it also might have been easier if I had gone ahead and I had marked my quarter panels just so I could ease the fabric in between each quarter section, but this wasn't too bad either. So what you're going to do is clip there and make sure your lining and your exterior, except for at that very top of the zipper tab, you're not clipping the lining here. The only part that should be clipped is at that zipper tab with your lining. Otherwise, you are clipping them completely separate from each other. So I'm starting here first with the tighter curve and clipping in place. And then I'll go ahead and do the opposite side, easing that fabric between the top and bottom centers. Lots of clips. Now Jess uses staples to do this, and that's some people's preference. I am always scared I will forget to pull a staple out, and I'm just super not coordinated to use a stapler, but some people just absolutely swear by them. So however you like to sew your curves to keep them in place, you do you. I just use 1,000,001 clips, and it does the trick for me. As you can see, a small bag and a lot of clips. But yeah, use a stapler if you want to. Continue clipping this all the way around. Once you finish those millions of clips like I have done here, what we're going to do is take this to the machine, and we're not going to be sewing all the way to the top. So just before where the lining attaches, like right about here and right about here, so we want to make sure we're just sewing through that exterior. We're going to start and stop at those lines, making sure you backstitch well. So you're going to start at that first line here, you're going to sew all the way around and all the way to the other side and stopping at that line we made. And there will be an opening at the top, and that is perfectly fine. Now, I also went ahead and I left my zipper foot on because I just find it a lot easier with the seam allowance to use the zipper foot here and to have a little bit more control. So yeah, again, follow the seam allowance in the pattern. I use a stiletto to help around those curves and hold everything in place, and just take it slow, going clip by clip. Okay, so that is on one side on. You can see there's an opening in the top. That is fine. Make sure you've caught everything all the way around. You can kind of look in there to double check your work if you want to. Go ahead and do the same with the other exterior piece and the two lining sides. Now what we want to do is we're going to bring where those zipper tabs are with the lining and everything, and we're going to clip everything together like this. And this is attaching the lining to the exterior so the lining will not sag into the bag. Once you have that clipped across, you're going to kind of go and you're going to sew right along that top from where our stitches stopped and started, and you're going to do the same thing with the opposite side. That's all done. You can see how they're kind of stuck together. Now you can go ahead and you can turn your bag out through the opening in the bottom of the bag. Now this turned through a lot easier than I expected it to. If you don't have interfacing on it, this will turn even easier, but it wasn't too bad with Decovil Light and Cork and vinyl and waterproof canvas. It came through pretty good. So kind of just work it through and make sure you're not pulling too hard. You do not want to rip anything. Little by little, poke out all of those seams. Make sure there was no puckers or tucks or anything. Mine look pretty good. Make sure everything was caught. Just dragging my finger along the seam of that exterior. If it all looks good, we can go ahead and we can close up the lining. So this is where I do it a little bit different. Now remember that opening left in the bottom of my zipper? I'm going to go ahead and pull the lining of my zipper out, reach in through that opening and grab the whole bottom of the lining here. And then I'm going to match up those lining centers that I had clipped on it. Just so we know it's nice and straight, match up those centers, clip in place. And then you're just going to sew across this opening from where our stitches started and stopped for when we originally sewed the bottom of the lining. Once that is done, go ahead and stuff that lining back into that zipper pocket. Make your lining nice and taut in there, make sure everything was caught, and if it was, fold over the raw edges of your zipper pocket, clip in place, and then top stitch that closed. Now go ahead, stuff that zipper pocket back in where it needs to go. Make sure everything looks good. Oh my gosh, it's just so pretty. So now all you have to do now is go ahead and give it a little massage, make sure everything looks good, and then go ahead and attach your handles. Again, she attaches her handles at the beginning. I like to do mine at the end. This is what it looks like all attached. Oh my gosh, I just love this so very much. Again, this one sold right away within 10 minutes of posting on my page. You can put on your crossbody strap, pat yourself on the back, admire your work. I just love this. I can't wait to see all of your violet barrel bags. And we're done.
All right, that's it, that's all. Wasn't too bad, hey? I just love how this came together as a birth bag. Could you do this as a bound bag? Absolutely. If you prefer a bound bag, super easy to convert it to. If you know how to do a bound bag, you know how to convert it to. If you're one of those, which isn't me, that likes a zipper top drop-in lining, you can completely do that as well. As an experienced bag maker, you will know how to convert the pattern into this. Now, this is great for those that love a birth bag, and I really appreciate Jess for showing us how to do a barrel bag birth. Just love it. Anyways, if at any time you did like this video and found it helpful, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. I must also tell you that this is the bag for our April 2025 sew along classes on the membership side of the channel. So if you want to join in there, you can definitely go ahead. That is linked down below how you can join the membership side. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys again. Bye.